Hi, I'm Sarah. Today, I'm going to read you the story of Nain, which is titled like this. My twin sister and I graduated together, but our parents threw a party just for her because I chose the wrong field. We don't want to congratulate a pathetic artist, they said. So I left. But 5 years later, they saw me on TV and wanted to be a part of my life. Well, let's go. My name is Nain, and I just finished my last exam at Riverside Art College. For years of studying art and design on a full scholarship, and I'm finally about to graduate. The college is 3 states away from my hometown, but it was worth every mile to get away from my family's drama. I have a twin sister named Rachel. We were born on the same day, obviously, but you'd never know it from how my parents treat us. Ever since we were kids, Rachel was always the golden child. In elementary school, I loved drawing. I'd spend hours sketching cartoons and designing posters for school events. When the art teacher recommended me for the district art competition, my parents said it was cute but told me not to get distracted from real subjects. Meanwhile, Rachel got a trophy for spelling bee participation, and Dad hung it in the living room like she'd won the Nobel Prize. High school was worse. I joined the art club, designed the school newspaper, and won 3 regional drawing contests. My parents kept my ribbons in a shoebox in the garage. When Rachel made the honor roll freshman year, they threw her a party and invited the whole neighborhood. When I made the honor roll sophomore year, Mom said, "That's nice, honey," and asked me to help Rachel with her math homework. The worst part was when we turned 17. Our parents sat us down for the talk about college. "Girls," Dad said, "you need to think seriously about your futures. Finance is a stable field, good money, job security. But I want to study art," I said. "I'm good at it. I could be a designer." "Art is a hobby," Mom interrupted. "You can't make a living drawing pictures." Rachel just nodded along. "Finance sounds great." I already looked at the local college. Of course she did. Rachel always knew exactly what to say to make our parents happy. She'd figured out early that being the favorite meant never rocking the boat. But I couldn't give up on my dreams. I secretly applied to 3 art colleges, spent weeks putting together portfolios, and wrote essays about my passion for design. I didn't tell my parents anything. Then the acceptance letters started coming, not just acceptances, scholarships. A full ride at Riverside, partial scholarships at the other 2. I was so excited I could barely contain myself. The night I got the last letter, we were having dinner. Rachel was going on about how excited she was to start at the local college in the fall. That's when I decided to drop my bomb. Actually, I have some news too. I got accepted to 3 art colleges. The silence was deafening. Mom's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. Dad's face went red. Rachel just stared at me with this smug little smile. Dad slammed his hand on the table. "Are you out of your mind? You want to paint walls for a living? You don't need college for that." "It's not painting walls," I said, my voice getting louder. "It's interior design, graphic design, fine arts. It's a real profession." "Real profession?" Dad laughed, but not in a good way. "You're being a fool, Nain." Rachel actually giggled at that. She covered her mouth like she was trying to hide it, but I saw her. "This is my calling," I said, standing up. "I can make good money doing this. It's a prestigious career." "Prestigious?" Dad stood up too. "You know what's prestigious? Having a steady job. Being able to support yourself, not chasing some fantasy about being an artist." I wanted to tell them about the scholarships right then. I wanted to throw it in their faces that I was good enough to get a full ride, that colleges actually wanted me. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the way they were looking at me, like I was some kind of disappointment they'd been waiting to happen. "I'm not giving up on this," I said quietly. "This is my dream." "Then you're on your own," Dad said. "I'm not paying a dime for you to waste 4 years pretending to be an artist." The rest of dinner was silent. After that night, things got really cold. My parents barely spoke to me. When they did, it was just basic stuff like, "Pass the salt," or "Did you do your chores?" Rachel wasn't much better. She'd make little comments when our parents weren't around. "You know they're right," she'd say. "You're just going to end up broke and miserable." The months before graduation crawled by. I couldn't wait to get out of that house and start my real life. When moving day finally came, I packed everything myself. No one offered to help. No one drove me to the airport. But you know what? Those 4 years at Riverside were the best of my life. I loved every class, every project, every late night in the studio. I even had my own exhibitions on campus. For my senior project, I designed a complete interior renovation for a homeless shelter downtown. My professors said it was some of the best work they'd seen. I only talked to my family a few times during college. Quick phone calls where mom would ask if I was still doing the art thing, and I'd say yes, and she'd change the subject. I never went home for holidays. I couldn't stand the thought of sitting around that table again, listening to them praise Rachel while treating me like I didn't exist. And now here I am, 3 days before graduation. I should be excited. I should be proud. Instead, I'm sitting in my dorm room, staring at my phone, trying to work up the courage to make one more call home. I dial the number before I can chicken out. Hello. Mom's voice sounds exactly the same as it did 4 years ago. Hi, Mom. It's me. I wanted to invite you and Dad to my graduation. It's this Saturday, April 30th. I know it's short notice, but Saturday, there's a pause. Oh, I'll be busy that day. I'm preparing for Rachel's graduation. My heart sinks, but I push forward. Mom, Rachel's graduation isn't until 2 weeks after mine. You could come to both. Another pause, longer this time. We're not coming, Nain. We're just not interested. Have a nice day. And she hangs up on me. I sit there holding the phone, not even surprised. Deep down, I knew they wouldn't come. They never came to anything that mattered to me. But it still hurts. Saturday came and went. My graduation was beautiful. The campus looked amazing with all the decorations, and I felt proud walking across that stage to get my diploma. But there was this empty feeling in my chest when I looked out at the audience and didn't see any familiar faces. I moved out of the dorms the next week and found a small apartment about 20 minutes from campus. I'd saved up money from working part-time jobs during school, tutoring other students in design software, doing freelance logo work, even waiting tables on weekends. I wasn't rich, but I had enough to get by while I looked for a real job. 2 weeks after graduation, I was scrolling through social media when I saw something that made my stomach drop. Rachel had posted photos from her graduation ceremony. There they were, Mom and Dad, both dressed up nice, huge smiles on their faces. Dad had his arm around Rachel. Mom was holding a bouquet of flowers. They looked so happy, so proud. The caption read, "So grateful for my amazing parents who have supported me every step of the way. Love you guys." I told myself not to care. I told myself I was done expecting anything from them. But it still stung. 2 weeks later, Rachel posted again. This time, it was an announcement about a graduation party, celebrating my college graduation with friends and family. Can't wait to party with everyone who's been part of this journey. Message me if you want to come. That's when I got an idea. Maybe this was my chance to fix things. Maybe if I reached out, if I made an effort, we could celebrate both of our graduations together. It would be perfect, a double celebration for both twins. I picked up my phone and called Mom before I could talk myself out of it. Hi, Mom. It's Nain. I saw Rachel's post about her graduation party. I was thinking maybe I could come, and we could make it a celebration for both of us, like a double graduation party. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. Absolutely not. We don't want you there, Nain. You made your choice when you decided to become some pathetic artist instead of getting a real degree. We don't want to celebrate that. The words hit me like a slap. Mom, how can you say that? I graduated with honors. I have a degree. I'm looking for work in my field. Your field is a joke, Nain. You're wasting your life, and we're not going to pretend otherwise just to make you feel better. The line went dead. She'd hung up on me again. I sat on my couch and cried for hours, not just sad tears, angry tears. How could they be so cruel? How could they say those things to me? I was their daughter, too. I'd worked just as hard as Rachel. I'd achieved just as much, maybe more. But you know what? After all those tears, something shifted inside me. If they thought I was a pathetic artist, I'd show them what this pathetic artist could do. I threw myself into job hunting. I updated my portfolio, sent out dozens of applications, and worked like crazy. Within a week, I had 3 interviews lined up. The third interview was at Sterling Design Group, one of the most prestigious interior design firms in the city. They specialized in high-end residential projects, million-dollar homes, celebrity clients, the works. "Your portfolio is impressive," said Janet Sterling, the owner. "Your homeless shelter project shows real creativity and heart." "Thank you. I believe good design should be accessible to everyone, not just people who can afford it." I like that philosophy, but I'll be honest. Most of our clients are very wealthy. Can you handle designing for people who spend more on a single room than most people make in a year? I thought about my parents, about their cramped little house where they'd never once hung up any of my art. I can handle it. Rich people deserve beautiful spaces, too. Janet smiled. "You start Monday." I couldn't believe it. Not only did I have a job, but I was going to be working with some of the best designers in the state. The salary was more than I'd ever imagined making right out of college. On my first day, I met Maya Chin, another junior designer who'd started just a few months before me. She was around my age, funny, and incredibly talented. We clicked immediately. Over sandwiches, we talked about our dreams, our goals, where we wanted to be in 5 years. "I don't want to work for someone else forever," Maya said. "I want my own firm someday, be my own boss, choose my own projects." I liked that Maya had this confidence, this drive that was infectious. She made me believe I could do more than just work for other people's dreams. "You know," I said, "maybe we could do it together someday. Start our own firm. It could be perfect." "Partners?" She held out her hand. "Partners." I shook it, and I knew my life was about to change in ways I couldn't even imagine. That night, I called my Aunt Linda, my mom's sister. She'd always been the cool aunt, the one who actually listened when I talked about my art. I told her about graduation, about the phone calls, about what Mom had said. Linda listened without interrupting. "I'm sorry, sweetie. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but your parents have always had blinders on when it comes to Rachel. I'm done trying with them, Aunt Linda. I'm going to build my own life, and they can either be part of it or not. Good for you. You don't need their approval to be successful. You never did." After we hung up, I felt lighter somehow, like I'd finally given myself permission to stop caring what they thought. I was going to prove them wrong, not to win them back, but to prove to myself that I'd made the right choice all along. Working at Sterling Design Group was like going to graduate school every day. Maya and I threw ourselves into every project, learning from the senior designers and soaking up everything we could about running a high-end design business. Our first big project together was a penthouse renovation for this tech executive who'd made millions in crypto. The guy had zero taste, but unlimited money. We spent weeks creating mood boards and 3D renderings, showing him how elegant design could still feel luxurious without looking like a casino. By the end, even he admitted our version was better than his original vision. That's when Maya and I started seriously talking about our own firm. We'd spend lunch breaks sketching out business plans on napkins, dreaming about the kinds of projects we'd take on, the aesthetic we wanted to develop. 3 years flew by. Maya and I had worked on dozens of projects together, from celebrity homes to corporate offices to boutique hotels. We'd built up our skills, our confidence, and, most importantly, our savings. "I think it's time," Maya said one evening after we just finished a particularly exhausting project. "We've learned everything we can here. We're ready to go out on our own." She was right. We both felt it. We'd been talking about starting our own firm for so long, and now we finally had the experience and the money to make it happen. We found a small office space in an up-and-coming arts district. Nothing fancy, but it had great natural light and enough room for both of our workstations, plus a conference area for meeting clients. Our first few projects were small, friends of friends, referrals from former colleagues at Sterling. But word started spreading about our work. We had this approach where we really listened to what clients wanted and then elevated their vision in ways they hadn't even imagined. Maya suggested we start filming our projects to show the transformation process. We began making short videos for YouTube, just documenting the renovations with humor and personality. The videos took off faster than we ever expected. Within 2 years, we had hundreds of thousands of subscribers following our channel. That's when the email came from Brian Matthews, executive producer at Home and Garden Cable Network. He'd been watching our videos and wanted to discuss developing a television program based on our work. Are you serious? I asked during our phone call with him. Dead serious. You two have something special, expertise combined with genuine entertainment value. We think you could have the next big renovation show. After months of negotiations and planning, we agreed to do the show while continuing to run our design business. It would be the perfect combination. We'd get massive exposure for our company while doing what we loved on a bigger platform. Design Dreams premiered 6 months later, and it was an instant hit. The show featured us working on real client projects, but Maya and I brought this energy and humor that made home renovation feel accessible and fun instead of intimidating. "Welcome to another episode of Design Dreams" became my signature opening line. I'm Nain, this is Maya, and we're about to turn this space into something incredible. Each episode followed us through a complete renovation, from initial client meeting to final reveal. But we didn't just show the pretty parts. We showed the disasters, the moments when nothing went according to plan, the times when we had to completely rethink our approach. People loved seeing the real process. "You two are like the friends everyone wishes they had when they're renovating," one review said. "You make it look achievable." The show's popularity exploded during the second season. We went from a half-hour slot to a full hour. Then we got picked up for prime time. By the third season, we were one of the network's top-rated shows. With the TV money on top of our thriving design business, Maya and I were making more money than I'd ever imagined possible. We were getting recognized on the street, invited to industry events, featured in design magazines. "Can you believe this is our life?" Maya asked one day as we walked onto set for another episode. "Sometimes I have to pinch myself," I admitted. 5 years ago, I was broke, and my parents thought I was an idiot for studying art. Well, you showed them. I had, and I was about to show them even more. I'd been looking at houses for months, dreaming of having my own space to design exactly the way I wanted. When I found the perfect property, a 1920s craftsman with incredible bones, but in desperate need of updating, I knew it was meant to be mine. The house was everything I'd ever wanted: hardwood floors, original built-ins, huge windows, and a layout that flowed perfectly for entertaining. It needed a complete renovation, which was perfect because I could document the entire process. "What do you think about doing a special episode?" I asked Maya. "Document my whole house renovation from start to finish." "Are you kidding?" "The audience would love that, seeing how you design for yourself versus designing for clients." The network loved the idea too. Nain's Dream House became a 3-part special that aired during Sweeps Week. Viewers got to see every decision I made, from choosing paint colors to designing custom built-ins to creating the perfect home office studio. The special got the highest ratings in the show's history. Fans loved seeing my personal style, and the house became a showcase for what our design firm could do when given complete creative freedom. Standing in my finished living room, surrounded by furniture I'd chosen and art I'd commissioned, I felt this incredible sense of accomplishment. I'd built this life entirely on my own terms. I was successful. I was happy. And I was finally proving to myself that following my dreams had been the right choice all along. The best part? My parents still had no idea how successful I'd become. And honestly, I liked it that way. This success was mine, built without their support or approval. It felt even sweeter because of that. Life was perfect. Maya and I were filming the 4th season of Design Dreams. Our design firm had a year-long waiting list, and I was living in my gorgeous dream house that had been featured in 3 different home magazines. I'd made it further than I'd ever imagined possible. Then my phone rang on a Tuesday morning. The caller ID showed my childhood home number, a number I hadn't seen pop up on my screen in over 5 years. "Hello," I answered cautiously. "Nain, honey, it's Mom." Her voice was warm and sweet, completely different from the last time we'd spoken. "What do you want?" "Oh, sweetheart, your father and I saw you on television. We had no idea you'd become so successful. We're so proud of you." I almost laughed. "Proud of me? You called me a pathetic artist the last time we talked." "Now, honey, that was years ago. People change. We were just worried about your future. But look at you now. You have your own TV show. What do you need, Mom?" There was a pause. "We made mistakes. We admit that. But you're successful now, and we want to celebrate that with you. We want to be part of your life." I could hear the manipulation in her voice, the fake sweetness. "You only want to reconnect because I have money now." "That's not true," she sounded offended, but I could tell it was an act. "Although, since you are doing so well, maybe you could help us out a little, just temporarily." There it was, the real reason for the call. "Help you out how?" "Well, we're going through a rough patch financially. Nothing major, just some temporary setbacks." I remembered the words she'd said to me years ago, the venom in her voice when she'd refused to let me come to Rachel's party. "You called me a pathetic artist, Mom. You said you didn't want to celebrate some pathetic artist's achievements. Nain, you need to learn to forgive. Family is family. Family is family? Funny how you only remember that when you need something." I hung up before she could respond. But they didn't give up. Over the next few weeks, my phone rang constantly. Mom, Dad, even Rachel started calling. When I stopped answering, they switched to text messages. "Please call us back. We love you." From Mom. "You're being selfish." "We're your family." From Dad. "I can't believe you're abandoning us like this." From Rachel. The messages got more desperate, then angry, then threatening. "If you don't help us, everyone will know what kind of person you really are." That one was from Rachel. "You'll regret treating your family this way." From Dad. Finally, Rachel sent a message that made me furious. "I'm going to go on talk shows and tell everyone how you refuse to help your struggling family. See how your precious fans react to that." That's when I called my lawyer, Marcus Weber. He'd handled the contracts for our TV show and had become a good friend. "They're threatening to go public with lies about me refusing to help them," I explained. "What can I do? Do you have evidence of these threats?" "Screenshots of everything." "Perfect. Let me draft a cease and desist letter. If they try to slander you publicly, we'll sue them for defamation and harassment. Send me those screenshots." Marcus crafted a letter that was professional but firm. He made it clear that any public statements about me would result in immediate legal action and that we had documentation of their harassment and threats. I never heard from them again after that letter was sent. A few months later, my Aunt Linda called with the real story. "I thought you should know why they really wanted to reconnect," she said. "I already know. They needed money." "It's worse than that, honey. Rachel started a business after college with your parents' money. They even took out a second mortgage on their house to fund it." "What kind of business?" "Some online boutique thing. She was going to sell handmade jewelry and accessories. Your parents were convinced she was going to be the next big entrepreneur." I could picture it perfectly, Rachel, always the golden child, convincing our parents to invest everything in her surefire success story. Let me guess, it didn't work out. The business completely collapsed after 3 years. Rachel had no idea what she was doing, bad inventory decisions, terrible marketing, no business plan. They lost everything. How much? Everything. The bank is threatening to foreclose on their house. They're drowning in debt. That's why they suddenly decided you were worth talking to again. I should have felt bad for them. I should have felt some sympathy for my parents losing their home, but I felt nothing. Maybe that made me a terrible person, but I couldn't bring myself to care. Thanks for telling me, Aunt Linda. Are you okay with all this? I'm fine. Actually, I'm better than fine. I'm free. And I was. For the first time in my life, I was completely free from caring what my family thought of me. They'd shown their true colors, and I was done feeling guilty about their choices. Maya and I kept working on the show, kept growing our business. We were planning to expand into a home goods line, maybe write a book about design principles. The future was full of possibilities. Any regrets? Maya asked me one day as we wrapped filming on another episode. About what? Your family. Walking away from all that. I thought about it seriously. You know what? No, I don't regret any of it. They had years to support me, to believe in me, to treat me like I mattered. They chose not to. I'm not going to feel guilty for succeeding without them. Good for you. You built this life yourself. You don't owe them anything. She was right. I'd proven that my dreams were worth chasing, that my parents were wrong about everything. I was successful, happy, and surrounded by people who actually valued me. My family could keep their drama, their favoritism, their conditional love. I had something better now. I had a life I'd built on my own terms, and nobody could take that away from me.